very different teams in very different situations as champion select is upon us, and a Rakan ban instant from MVP.
Zyra Khan would fit into Afreeca Freecs, and of course Rakan, a trademark pick for Tucson. Do we see any cheeky top lane bans at MVP with Max filling in? You could just ban Sion. I mean, it wouldn't be the worst ban.
Well, I mean, that is the one top laner that he has certainly played to pretty great effect. But,
he's played a bit of everything. When it comes to the bot lane, Brand top, possible. A lot of mages top, definitely possible. On the side of Max, Aatrox is going to be the standard ban, and from there it'll get very situational. Seeing Zephyr, the coach of, the drafting coach, I should say, of the Korean national squad in the booth for Afreeca Freecs today.
Yep, sort of dropped off as far as his genius. His first round robin drafts were incredible to watch.
A lot less consistently well sculpted in the summer season in general, you'd have to say.
Haven't been feeling the complete outthink, but Talia going to be banned away, and this is going to continue down a pretty predictable path here for Afreeca so far, not throwing any spanners into the works, as MVP have a group of players that aren't necessarily in their correct positions. Having two supports is an odd one. Does mean that Funnel seems to be a good idea. Papa Smithy, what do you think about that one? Orianna, the final ban for MVP.
If anyone can put the fun in Funnel, it would definitely be MVP.
Oh, yeah. Well, hopefully they don't, because still it's Funnel, and it's frustrating. As Afreeca Freecs, do they just take away the Swain? Does seem like the next cab off the rank, as MVP have banned a whole bunch of random stuff, so a lot of things are going to get through.
Nocturne open, Nocturne not going to be banned, Swain not going to be banned. See if MVP want to visit it, would it be a flex pick? How's Max's Swain, you wonder?
I don't know, how's his Trundle? He could be flexing that one too.
I've seen him troll before, so I think definitely Trundle could be a top lane pick.
Feels like the perfect pick for MVP to start off this draft, as Max is the one on the top side of the map. Keen, see whether he just locks in his pick. Swain, of course, available, can go to Kuro or aiming, of course. Keen could also play it, but I'd like to see him on something a little bit more lane dominant. That's going to be locked away. Understandable first pick here in the Swain. Where does Spirit go? Sejuani, pretty standard.
Kindred, a big pick for him, but a pick that a lot of teams have struggled to close games out on, Afreeca included. In recent memory, so Kindred priority does feel a little bit lower for most teams. Jungle is often taken at this pick, unless you want to go for a support. This would be pretty early, but it could definitely be the duo of the bot lane. Could be Swain Alistair, if Afreeca Freecs want to go that way.
Also opening the door for a last round Yasuo pick in our first round before the second round of bans. Braum.
Oh, look at that exhaust over there. I think it might be fun time for the side of MVP.
Why did I say it? Mordekaiser in the funnel. That makes it a little bit more fun, as Ian's going to be locking that one away. So Braum Mordekaiser locked in, and we could have some interesting aged Gouda on the map.
Would you say hijinks have been initiated?
I believe so. I would say that hijinks is certainly the thing.
Well, Afreeca Freecs, probably also. The moment you see Braum in the first round, you're like, wait, uh-oh. So, no sinking feeling yet. The Varus will come out. This is, of course, Aiming's best performing champion in recent memory.
Also was one of the champions that Afreeca used to dismantle the Griffin funnel, if I remember the correct opposing team.
That was Swain bot lane and Morgana, I believe, as a duo, and it was Aiming's Varus that put it straight into the dumpster. So let's see what happens on the side of Afreeca Freecs. They're starting the bans here. We'll see a Talon ban.
And it looks like MVP were trolling us just a little bit, as the Braum lock-in was a little bit of a giveaway. Braum Mordekaiser is actually a great lane. You can lock people down with the autos of the Mord and really guarantee the big last bonk from the Mace of Spades.
Like in the blue summoners here for Ian. Ghost Cleanse, real classic duo of summoners.
Very standard.
Now 3 smites, MVP. Thinking emoji is running wild on their side with the summoners, having fun. As they should. It is an unenviable position to be in, and they're just trying to make the best of what's going on.
Making the best of
Afreeca Freecs.
Yeah, okay.
That would be a Jungle Kai'Sa, a favorite of Spirits. But I think he's just going to play something more standard. Maybe he says, well, we're expected to win this game. I want to get my confidence up. He played AP Jungle Gragas, and it was just the worst. So perhaps this time he'll find a better game on the Jungle Gragas.
Well, there it is, locked away. Not very many opportunities for it to go elsewhere unless Keen's going to pilot it on the top side, but that means that solo lanes have been locked in as well as the AD carry. His pilot goes back to an old favorite. That's going to be the Tristana, and the Karthus is locked in. MVP. MVP.
Where's everyone going?
That was going to be my next question. I think Braum is going support, Papa. That's what I think. Don't ask me any more questions.
Well, MVP went for the we're playing blind pick, lock in your champion first and work out the roles later situation.
Yeah.
Afreeca Freecs say we're usually the ones who enact shenanigans. The hijinks are engaged. Who is playing what champion is a question that may evolve. I'm guessing we got some sort of jungle follow going on here.
Well, Na was the one that was locked in for the top lane for Afreeca, so that means Keen's going to be playing that. Afreeca Freecs, highly understandable situation there. Where is everyone going is the question on the side of MVP, and so far Max has a Mordekaiser. As
Motive's not
teleport,
trolling.
smite, Karthus in the mid lane.
Motive's got exhaust, so he knows what he's doing. Everyone else having a fun old time over here. I'm guessing some lane Mordekaiser might happen. Can be able to pop out, as we don't really have to say too much. They can change their summoners still.
Yep, that's true. That's true. But this is definitely looking weird and wonderful from MVP. They've got some grins on their faces, having a peek down in the booth. And we'll see how it's going to...
We stuck with this smite. And the TP. Well, they've got two supports, one of which is Yondu. Max amusingly not playing support with two supports on the rift.
Yep. Well, the MVP fans, they still believe. The thing that I love about this, Papa Smithy, is what does MVP love to do? What is their favorite thing to do?
Troll.
Apart from trolling. Baron.
It's true.
They got 3 smites for when they're doing that Baron as well. As, yeah, Yondu does still have exhaust, so...
To catch you guys up, if you're joining us late, if you didn't watch the MVP match a couple of days ago, they played against Kingzone the night after. Top laner ADD was rushed to hospital to the emergency room with a collapsed lung. Very unfortunate pneumothorax that he was unfortunately diagnosed with, so given that I have cast teams who've had a player go down with that in the past in esports, it's usually a multi-week recovery time, so he's not available 2 days later. So obviously a very unfortunate situation for them. They don't have a recognized top laner as a substitute, and that is why they are playing Max in the top lane, although we're trying to fully understand exactly where everyone's going.
Looks like Ian is going to go 1v2 bottom side. Against this Alistair.
Where could it go wrong as teleport against Alistair?
Look, I don't know. I don't think you need a flash, really, into an Alistair.
Well,
lane.
He doesn't have a teleport. He's already used it.
Yeah.
So.
Nor do you need a smite, because he's already used that, too. I think this is going to be fine. No summoner spells.
This puts the int in interesting.
Well, we'll see. I am not ready to say that this is crap just yet. Wait until the first kill comes down. I'm much like Korean solo queue, Pop Smithy. Korean solo queue, you can try whatever the heck you like. As soon as it fails once, you're the worst player, worst team, worst everything in the universe. As our Pilot and Motive, they're funneling. We got multiple funnels at the same time. We're trying to funnel everything. And maybe if one funnel is wrong, 2 funnels make a right.
I've decided that instead of talking about the strategy here, I'm just going to let it play out and think about it after the fact. My brain power is limited. It is the 7th game of the night.
7th game of the night, and we've got bot lane solo Karthus smite teleport with support Trundle roaming around the jungle, and Max with a smite Mordekaiser top lane 2v1 against Anar.
I just love the Observer swapping champions. He's like, really?
Yeah. He has not. Move Ian into the motive position and switch Pilot mid. That's what I'd do.
Well, I feel like Spirit has a high chance of the gank being pulled off against a smite teleport Ian.
Hey, but he's level 4. He can defile them under the turret. That's going to be a difficult one to lock down.
I do feel defiled.
Farming. Well, I think we all do. There's not a lot of great news to come down here. Oh, there we go. Some sweet damage from the Karthus. As Pilot is going to get yanked back with the Never Move. Crow running out of mana completely, though, as MVP just going to clear out this minion wave in mid lane. Keen wonders where everyone went, and of course, MVP are taking away all of Spirit's jungle. You mentioned Spirit having a rough time on the Gragas the first time around. He's also going to have a rough time here, but for reasons that are very different to what a standard game would be, because this Gragas currently just can't find anything on his topside jungle. There's nothing there.
What did Spirit say or do to MVP to deserve having absolutely no jungle at all?
Maybe he said something mean about ADD.
I mean,
I think that is very rude.
I think that's tasteless. Spirit's a really nice guy, so I know you're just joking, but that's very unlikely.
Well, Exhaust going to be used onto Keen. Very respectful flash to come out from the Gnar as he's underneath his turret once again. The gank from Motive moving towards the top side of the map as the jungle Tristana continues on her regular route of the jungle.
Ian has
all things I wasn't expecting to say.
At least quite a lot of range on the Karthus, but it does feel like countdown till Flash Headbutt Pulverize.
That I feel could happen almost at any moment.
Well, Spirit decided that he wants to join in. I guess Ian is the person that Afreeca Freecs is involved in. No, apparently not, because they're waiting for this turret dive.
Yep.
I feel like it's 100% going to be a kill, but it could be traded if they mess up the execution.
Yep, this is the thing. Wall of Pain does come down there. Debuff now as Defile is armed and ready. See who's actually going to tank this one first up as Ian. Does take a while to go down, but it's good turret juggling. And Afreeca Freecs are able to lock that one up. No teleport available just yet. Minion wave thinned by the Karthus, but MVP, they knew this was going to happen. This is all part of the game plan, Pop Smithy.
Indeed. The game plan that we're implying exists. I assume they've practiced it before. I can't know.
Do you practice this, or is this a feel composition? I feel like this is a feel composition.
I understand what you're saying.
You know, like it's in your bones.
You just, take some paint, dab your brush in a couple of different colors, and just see what this happens when you waft it over the screen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a lot of us video game players don't understand the artist's way. And
hey, some of the most interesting builds in the history of League of Legends wouldn't have happened unless you had a creative touch. I'm thinking of the Soraka bot Smite Evelyn, where you had to suicide to the red buff to get the extra health Revive gave you.
Oh my
From Season
God.
1.
I remember that.
Exactly.
That was so troll.
And you have to be a bit unhinged to come up with that.
You do. And Max is also going to take a couple of turret shots as well, as Tucson is going to be 2v2 landing finally. See whether aiming's going to be okay now that he's got a kill on the bottom side, but it's a CS advantage for Ian. Just throwing that out there.
It's, Afreeca Freecs are just saying, we'll just stand back and try to play standard. However, do recall that the last time we saw a Korean team play against a team who was clearly unhinged or a bit off-center with their draft, it was Kingzone trying to play super standard against Rogue Warriors, who were running some of their crazy stuff. Yeah. Kingzone lost that game. This does appear to be the most into Crazy Town, so perhaps it'll be too much. However, Pilot walks up.
Yeah, Kuro has only enough mana to use the... Oh my God, Pilot! What are you doing under the turret? Tanks it up for as long as Motive lets him, and that's an easy kill in the mid lane.
Some dark technology is being employed by MVP. That's definitely some dark magic happening
When
here.
does it become genius, Papa Smithy? When do we need to turn around and say that MVP are gods? They're going from artists to geniuses very, very quickly. This is out of the studio and into the science lab.
I mean, my career was made off of a Smite Heimerdinger game 6 years ago. This one, I think, is a little bit too crazy. I really don't see the synergies here. I guess they have their own ghost and can take an enemy ghost. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a lot of ghosts. It's a spooky comp, but is it actually going to work? At the moment, it's even on gold. Ian is cleaning up as much jungle as he possibly can. Spirit, still level 5. Yondu also level 5, but he's a support trundle this time around. Ian does have the spellbook, so he picks himself up a smite.
Pilot has a lot of attack speed on the good old Blood Razor Tristana. Do notice, Blood Razor pretty good against Baron.
Yeah. And MVP, pretty keen on Baron. It all comes full circle. You can understand where this painting was painted towards. You can understand where the inspiration has come from.
You would hope Afreeca Freecs would also get the early spoilers on that one, but we've seen stranger things happen.
We have. Season 3 going to be out pretty soon as well.
Shut up. So let's assume that around, let's say, level 10, we see a Baron start, maybe level 12. Level 12, Smite 720. 3 times 720 would be 2160 in terms of secure range.
I thought you were waiting for it to add up to 666 or something like that.
No.
Full Illuminati factor, but this is a way to get a Drake, and that's to have 1,000,000 smites. And the Dragon is going to be locked down. Now moving towards the bottom side of the map as this minion wave needs to be answered. Tucson has moved himself back down here with aiming, so thankfully the Dragon is going to be helping out there. As Yondu and Max march their way forward with their new Dragon friend. And so far, I feel like the game plan has worked.
Surprisingly well.
Yeah. I don't know what it necessarily was like supposed to do. I don't know what the win condition is. Are you supposed to have like 6 turrets
kill
at
the
this
Baron.
point?
Also maybe the Gnar.
Yeah, maybe you are going to kill the Gnar. As, yeah, he's most certainly dead. The ultimate is going to straight up miss, but Rocket Jump is still in there. Pilot decides not to go as aggressive as he did onto Kuro. And Ian just going to get some cheeky autos into this top outer turret. But Afreeca haven't been able to push forward at all. And MVP have been dictating the pace of this game the entire time.
They've definitely been very much on the map. Spirit has been anonymous on this AP Gragas. Stop smiling, stop laughing. We're casting a serious video game here.
I just love that your analysis is, well, MVP have been on the map. They are here.
All I mean is they have control wards down. They've had first rotation to most of the lanes. They're still getting access to farm. The Smite teleport Karthus has died once. It's now changed over to the Flash because he was on the Unsealed Spellbook. So feeling happy about having Flash for at least a while here. They're getting access to a lot of different waves, and no gold lead is there for Afreeca. In fact, it's a gold lead to MVP.
Yeah, and it almost looks like a Mordekaiser funnel. Is Max actually now unlocked on the Mordekaiser, his favorite pick? Remember, my name's Max, and my favorite champion is Mordekaiser. I feel like this is perfect.
Now you've played your pocket pick story there.
Mm-hmm.
My name's Hooney, my pocket pick is Lucian. Aiming walks up, almost gets the turret. We'll get it very shortly. Can mention that it can't really be a funnel if 3 people have the smite. Not everyone on the team can funnel. Turns out not everyone is Spartacus. That's not how it works.
Probably
but if you're taking the enemy jungle, then more than one person could be funneling.
It's going to mean Afreeca Freecs have a bit more space here down on the bottom side. If you're going to get man advantages everywhere, there is somewhere that you're going to drop the ball. So that is going to be aiming. Rushing that turret through, Blade of the Ruin King now completed. He's got himself a bunch of farm, and if we know anything, we know that aiming can certainly navigate around shenanigans by picking up the Varus. Now going to move into the mid lane.
MVP, if they can just kill closest target, do remember that first item here is going to be super powerful, super gold efficient, because all the jungle items are super gold efficient. The Observer showing us they do a hell of a lot of damage to the Rift Herald.
They got 5 members here around it as well. And remember, this MVP composition actually team fights very, very well if they can do it on their terms. Shelly going to be coaxed out of the pit here as Afreeca Freecs looking to try and steal it away.
War.
There's the ultimate coming in from Spirit, but it's taken by MVP, and Spirit now has to get himself out of the way. Pilot, another aggressive move. It's Chains of Corruption. Do get themselves in there. Glacial Fissure going to miss everyone as Afreeca Freecs now have the health advantage against MVP, but they just scatter. They are going to be able to take the Rift Herald. It's Motive, I believe, that actually picked it up. As you can see, Empowered Recall means that he certainly did.
Very, very difficult to try to contest a smite there for the Gragas, so it does go the way of MVP. Afreeca just trying to actually draw the enemy to them by running straight down lane.
Yep. That Pillar not going to do so much, but it may actually kill Yondu, as thankfully he has Max there, but Ignite, it's ticking down.
He's fine.
Not going to tick enough, as he did throw in the Subjugate, and that's going to give him enough health back to survive.
Combat Summoners, of course, with 3 smites, going to be 2 red smites, 1 chilling smite on the side of MVP. They're able to get enough gold onto their Karthus and fight front to back. Who knows? Maybe they can actually get the Ghost early in a team fight and roll through the side of Afreeca Freecs. And Kuro needs a second item to really be able to impact the team fights. And Swains recently have been struggling. The Swain and Nocturne, both of them have been having a bit of a meager time recently.
Yeah.
See 2 jungle items picked up by the 2 people that don't have smite. Not jungle items, I say support items, so a lot of vision control going to be there for the Trundle and the Braum. A lot of information to take a Baron.
Well, we'll see whether that Baron that is looming is going to happen in 7 minutes' time. Of course, very early in this game. I feel like, I know it's game number 7, but I feel like we are just falling further and further down a rabbit hole. And things are just
Where
getting...
does it go?
Well...
Does it go towards MVP's comp making perfect sense?
I know Alice had a bit of an interesting time when she was there as Children of the Grave on top of Keen. The flash after from Max is not enough. Requiem could guarantee it, as there we go. And Ian picks up the kill. This is what this comp is capable of. It's capable of getting a pick and guaranteeing a ghost.
Kane just wanted to have a clean game of fun on the Gnar, but is having no fun. Speaking of no fun.
Yep, Cow also not going to have very much fun. Explosive charge, also able to seriously dent the Cow with the Unbreakable Will.
It feels like Afreeca Freecs have tried to play this game really square, and MVP have found a way to problem solve their way into a pretty big lead. They're able to find picks. They have so much map control because the Gragas controls nowhere, can really go nowhere. Hasn't found much of topside. Coming in with his barrel, it's not fine.
Yep, good early flash from Motive, but Spirit probably should have seen that he'd used that before throwing that one up in the air, but the lob does take a little while to arm.
They keep varying the lane assignment here. Kane may not find a magic resist shredding target to be able to get value out of the Wit's End that we saw be a big pickup earlier in the week on the Gnar. And if you just look at the champions on the side of MVP and disregard the smite, does end up being Mordekaiser top lane and otherwise a pretty standard composition.
Yeah.
More gold away from the Trundle and Braum onto the Tristana Karthus, who are both hyper carries. And the Mordekaiser are probably going to be utility, a Rylai's, for example, maybe a Merlinomicon. If it's needed, Afreeca have control of the Drake, but I don't think MVP will allow that to stand.
Well, they are actually going to be able to take this one, but it looks like they're not going to allow the outer turret in the mid lane to stand, if that's how you want to talk about it. Pilot gets over here, and of course Tristana, we haven't seen her for a while, pretty damn good at getting rid of these turrets, and Wall of Pain to help keep people out of the way as well. Shelly's going to clean this one up, and that's the outer ring dealt with. Actually, no, inner turret was taken on the top side of the map, so a bit askew is the map of Afreeca. Topside control in the hands of MVP, and we all know what that means. Teleport to come in from Afreeca as now they want the fight. Never move, lands onto Motive, but he tanks up a lot with the Unbreakable. And look at this turret, so incredibly low. Pilot set to try and grab this one. Good knockups to come in from Motive as everyone's on top of each other, but Yondu didn't want to be tanking that turret. And Afreeca Freecs do dissuade MVP from pushing any further.
The pace of this game that MVP is playing is really counting against Afreeca, who are trying to, like Kingzone against Rogue Warriors, just play slow and steady. Because the smite items are so gold efficient, there's a lot of power onto the members of MVP at one item, and Afreeca are just being caught with no mana on the Varus, so they get double charged and lose most of their inhibitor turret damage in the mid lane. They're caused second to rotations because they have no jungle control against a triple smite enemy team. They're second in many different ways, and if MVP can keep up this pace and get that 20-minute Baron Atlas, they could very well win this game #1.
Yeah, and MVP, actually, with this composition, right? You assume that if it's Afreeca with this kind of lead, this kind of map pressure, this game would be straight up over.
Yeah.
But with the fact that MVP have the 3 smites and all of the enemy jungle in order to get the smites into, that's the only reason why it's winning. MVP did manage to get themselves into this winning position on their own, though. They had the plan, they had the idea. Obviously, this isn't cheat. Well, I mean, it is cheese.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not trolling. This is a composition that MVP knows they can make work.
It was definitely one that we
navigated
needed.
it nice.
It's definitely one we needed to see play out in front of us and
Absolutely.
understand that Spirit just getting no lane assistance and losing all his camps really snowballed him to have very little impact in terms of presence. Just flashes in.
Yep, doesn't get the knock up onto Ian, however, does get the flash out of the Karthus, who will have teleport back up pretty soon. Chilling smite there as well. And MVP clearing out vision around the Baron. Still not available for another 2.5 minutes. Have to keep your eye on that particular clock. I just feel like everything is backwards. Trying to look at where the power is, where the control is, who's ahead in gold, who's ahead in farm as far as the 1 versus 1 matchups. It just doesn't exist. You can look at the total gold and see that MVP's winning, but you can look at 3 turrets to 1 and understand that definitely. But Pilot's a Tristana. It's been a while since we've seen her, and she scales extremely well and now has a Blade of the Ruin King. This Baron is going to be decimated within seconds. They can just take the next dragon, which is a Mountain Drake, to add to that, use the dragon to take the Baron in about 30 seconds flat.
I wonder if the next item in this build is Rageblade, because it's an on-hit build very clearly. It's the Blood Razor and also the Blade of the Ruin King. With Rageblade, that is an insane amount of current health and maximum health damage to both champions and also something like the Baron. There was a Rageblade Tristana played in the EULCS earlier this season. I believe it was in Demacia Cup first. I think Abel was the one to go into Rageblade Tristana. Itemization a bit cleaner as well.
Yeah, he's dead now. So So the Rage Blade might be pretty aptly named here after that one. That was a really
no
nice
guarantee
game.
it's going to be Rage Blade. Some of the Zeal items are a lot stronger than they were back then a couple patches ago, but fun to wonder. As for now, at least, he's like, I need a QSS.
He's going to be able to pick that one up. Pretty easily done there. 211 CS here at 18 minutes for the Tristana, who's been farming everything, but alongside a Karthus and a Mordekaiser that have been doing about the same thing. And for a player that in his career has never actually farmed, Max is doing a great job.
I know. Well, it's Mordekaiser, so...
Hey, are you saying that he's an easy champion to play?
I'm saying it's very easy to farm, especially when you don't have an opponent and are smiting things randomly most of the time.
That's true. That's good.
Amy has gone for these guys are going to randomly dogpile on top of me, I'm going to go Hurricane build, which I think is very smart.
Yeah, it's the I think that I'm Ash kind of build.
But he doesn't have a Hex Drinker, and that is increasingly something he will desperately need.
Yeah, because you can't build a Banshee's Veil anymore, as Ian is going to face check Keen,
Oh, he does.
which is a really, really bad idea. The bounce, the hop, and the very dead Karthus. Can he actually get a follow-up kill as the Skittles don't land? Therefore, the Requiem not going to land either. He's just going max range. With these Skittles, pretty easy one there for Keen. Grabs his first kill of the game.
Trying to find the gaps in the playbook. We saw the value in what MVP were able to do with so much jungle control onto the Gragas. However, in isolation, and when it's not about a jungle follow, things get a little bit trickier. When their map control goes down, we mentioned how this game would have been over if they had completely lost map control. They still have it, as you can well see on the screen. But Afreeca just want to get down their control wards, actually return to the fundamentals this team, famous for preparation, wants to get to. But now that's the last thing MVP is going to allow.
Well, teleport is available here for Ian. He could possibly get into this Baron pit very quickly if they're willing to give up the inner turret on the bottom side of the map. But you can see MVP do want to clear out a lot of the vision. Ian looking for a flank as he teleports into the Baron pit.
They know what they want.
Yeah, they're starting it. And let's see how quickly this dang Baron is going to go down. Of course, Afreeca Freecs are here in position. They'll have 5 members, but they've got 3 smites. And we'll see whether this dog pile is going to work out for either team. Demonic Ascension in the middle of the fight. Ian is going to die exactly where he wants to with the Defile. Requiem's going to come down, aiming. Great position, massive damage to fly forward as Pilot still throwing in the work. And there we go. The cow fell down. MVP has the dust. Oh, God, what was that flash? He picks up the kill onto aiming and jumps forward. Could it be the Quadra for Pilot? He's playing like a man possessed today, and it's going to be stolen by Max. There we go. MVP 5 for 2.
Such an explosive fight both ways. The Gnar ultimate onto 4, and they can't actually follow it up. Pilot lives. Pilot does the damage. They're going to get so much damage onto this inner turret. It goes down. What a moment for both these teams.
Just ridiculous. Let's have a look at this one again. It was a cacophony, but exactly the way that MVP liked it.
Holy crap. I thought the Gnar ultimate was going to answer this. Watch the Gnar as the fight goes on. Keen says that's a lot of people standing on top of each other. Gets a 3-man Gnar, not the 4-man it initially looked like because Pilot is still auto-attacking. But some members get low. Kuro is left to the wolves, and when one is left to the wolves against Tristana, Pilot fancies his time, flashes in, has the QSS at the end to not be CC'd. That means Spirit is exposed. Doesn't matter, but there's no health on his friends. Tristana cleans up.
Yeah, stunning stuff, and like you say, Gnar ultimate not quite hitting Pilot. It was honestly make or break. I feel if that didn't happen, then that would have been a very different team fight.
Tristana positions next to that wall. The team fight ends. On to such a big play. Keen makes the team fight Gnar work in a way. We haven't seen a 4-man Gnar in a long time.
Yeah.
But that's all he does. 546 damage is the Gnar ultimate, but nothing else in the team fight. And MVP say, wait, what about that Baron that we have 3 smites for?
They're going to move towards it. Remember, a lot of summoner spells down on cooldown. And there's Kuro on the bottom side of the map. He's the only one that can actually be there as he's the one with the teleport available.
His smite is getting higher and higher now. Level 14 on Pilot.
Compared to the level 12 of aiming. He just went back and purchased a full rapid-fire cannon as well.
Gonna go for Infinity Edge, you'd have to imagine now. So bridging away, not going for the Rage Blade build after some of the Zeal itemization was made a bit cleaner to purchase. Definitely can poke with the best of them with a build like this.
Yeah, and draw a bead now. Level 14 means that his range is really considerable. This is hyper carry Tristana like we haven't seen before.
Man, 3 level 14 smites against a level 12 smite from Spirit is Definitely a disaster.
Not to mention the fact that everyone that has Smite does ridiculous Baron damage. We got Leandri's on its way for Max as well, and that is going to be eating through the Baron alongside Ian, whose Skittles already do it. Not to mention Pilot, but that just can remain unspoken about.
Ian has gone for a max AP build because you get enough mana sustain from the blue buff and also ducking in to kill a camp or the Rift Scuttler.
Yeah.
With this Karthus build, you don't often get to skip the tier or the Rod of Ages on a Karthus. And Afreeca are now staring down a potential loss to this very creative MVP draft that seemed like it would never work.
Yeah, didn't look like it on paper, but that creative little ward is going to be taken away here, and MVP have sole possession of this Baron pit vision-wise. Aiming, making his way back in, and there are 3 control wards on Tucson as well. So thankfully, we do have the opportunity to get around the back of the pit, hopefully get that one warded up, but MVP often don't care about that.
They're going to roll straight
right
onto
now.
it.
They're just going to jump in, and Spirit, how the heck are you going to be able to out-smite this triple smite and all of the Baron damage that's coming in? Kuro, bit of a late teleport. This is going to be Baron going over to MVP, but now, can Afreeca actually find the engage they're looking for? Tucson says yes, but still some high health bars on the side of MVP, and they take down the Alistar already. The Gnar starting to pop off in this fight though, gets a double kill already as he jumps forward, doesn't get the hop, and there's the buster shot to make sure that he can't push any further forward. They get the Baron, but that is going to be about that, and they lose 3 for nothing.
This time aiming. This time aiming is the one free hitting. Tucson may go down, but aiming gets a lot of shots in. He has the Hex Drinker now. It's a bit more aggressive with his positioning. They do get the Baron, but usually 3 kills is too much. A standing goal to be picked up. We're going to miss out on Tristana trying to repel that turret. You wondered when they would start smiting because the range, the burst range is huge. They start at 2200 and 3 smites later, it's dead.
Yep. Do so pretty easily there as well, but this engage from the Afreeca Freecs, certainly great news. Having only 2 of these Barons remaining is brilliant. And like you say, aiming, he gets exhausted, but he just eats some honey fruit and goes back to shoot.
Well, it's the first time that actually aiming has had a zone with a Gnar in front of him, a Swain in front of him. He's free hitting in a way that he hasn't been able to in previous fights. There was no latitude for Ian to really have a big play in that team fight. They back away, they've got the Baron, they lose their outer top lane turret, but it's only 2 turrets to Afreeca Freecs, and the gold is still to the lead of MVP.
And MVP keep their mid-outer turret alive as well. Only inner turrets remaining on the other lanes, but 4-2 in turrets, certainly great for MVP, who now have 2 minutes of Baron on a couple of members, and 2 pretty important members as well, as Pilot and Ian are the ones with the buff.
You'll see low damage numbers there, even on Pilot, who looks like he should be doing incredible damage. Reason is, the only easy target they had was Tucson. But while Tucson died through his ultimate, we weren't getting damage onto the dealers, onto aiming, for example, the big damage dealer on the side of Afreeca. Still, MVP roll forward. They're going to see a ward that spots them on their merry journey.
But I feel like as this game goes on, as soon as Pilot gets an Infinity Edge, I don't think that you really care about whether the Alistar has an ultimate or not. You've got true damage now, and he is still going to melt at the hands of the pretty anemic Cow.
And how do they get to him? I don't think Alistar's going to be able to do it. The Gragas cast so far has been unreliable at best from Spirit. He's gone into the more standard build, but did start with the Runic Echo for a bit of burst.
Kane's pushing this wave on the top side of the map, now going to have to go home because they don't want this team to break open this base. 27 minutes on the clock, and MVP still, this unorthodox composition working. 6,000 gold is the lead exactly. The Afreeca Freecs still see where the standard is going to reign supreme. There's a reason why the meta is shaped the way it is. 3 smites generally shouldn't work. This time around it is, as our Explosive Cast does nothing, and our Chains of Corruption also are begging for a little bit more interaction there as the Wall of Pain answers it very cleanly.
Aiming was focused on whether he could hit a target rather than where his calls were from his team, because everyone else was hiding back. Keen was exhausted, but going to be now able to build up that Mega Gnar bar. He has flashback up, but it's still a short-range comp from MVP. They can't afford to clump when they see that Mega Gnar is coming up.
The thing that's difficult is that if Defile comes down, it could actually be difficult. Flash has to be used from aiming there as it's a huge knockup from Tucson. Children of the Grave as there's the Gnar back onto 3. Keen gets himself out of the way, and Yondu, the first one to die in this fight, and Motive very, very low. Keen still wanting more, wants to turn back into that mini Gnar form in order to get this one done in the end, but MVP running quick, running safe, and get out of the way.
Afreeca can only kill the closest target. It's Yondu this time, one of the 2 supports on the side of MVP. Gonna chase on. They can't get too much more. A Mountain Drake's the best they can hope for. There's still multiple smites on the enemy side. Max and Pilot currently with them available, but this will go to the way of the Afreeca Freecs. They pick up the Mountain, they back away. Seeing such close fights here, but 2 fights in a row where specifically the Tristana is corralled and doesn't put out the damage necessary.
Yeah, it feels a little bit like MVP have ran out of steam. They don't necessarily know what to do next, which is a little bit of a worrisome sign. It feels sometimes that MVP, as soon as Baron is off the map, don't quite know what the next thing to do is, and that siege on the bottom side of the map did not yield any fruit.
I got it. Next Baron. Let's go there.
All right.
Set up around the next Baron. Same as the last Baron is probably the best way for MVP. You think with a Tristana that siege would be safe, but they kind of watched Gnar build up the Gnar bar and Alistair engage on them, so that chance was removed.
Yeah.
Gonna have to problem solve a better way of dealing with that. Still, Baron will be spawning in a couple of minutes in an area for them to return to, and you have to imagine they're pretty close to this Infinity Edge Pilot when the equation definitely changes for Tristana.
And also, they managed to get the flash out of aiming, and I believe that as the Baron is coming up, aiming's flash should be a little bit afterwards, so it could be an opportunity for MVP to start a fight as soon as that one is available. Some huge minion waves top and bottom lane as well, as MVP have been able to kill creeps extraordinarily well. If there's anything that they can do this game, it's destroy minion waves, as that is a negative Baron power play, which is not exactly a Baron power play. That is that's bad news.
We'll see what Ian does in the next fight, because he's kind of been zoned out at 2 fights in a row. We haven't seen the aggressive flash into backline clogging that a passive of a Karthus can do. Not saying that Karthus needs to die every fight, but I think aiming's getting too much free autos off, which is a sign that maybe the Karthus has been too conservative with his position.
I was a little bit worried as Pilot was standing on top of a ward, but MVP now group up as 5. Baron is up in a minute's time. That's why MVP are all together. They want to pick it up as soon as possible. Pings down onto the Gnar as Pilot's going to move in.
He's got his big sword, by the way. Infinity Edge is now complete. The Knight's Vow is on him. It's Pilot's fight to lose. You feel like he really is surrounded by people ready for him to carry.
Well, 50 seconds on the Baron, and Pilot is moving towards the bottom side of the map. Afreeca moving their way up towards this turret, but Wall of Pain onto the minions. And I have a feeling they're going to have to kill this one without any creeps around if they want to take it down at all. Guardian Angel's big for Keen.
Baron spawning in 35 seconds. Definitely set up to win around that area, our MVP. Only way it goes bad is if they face check into the Swain and the Varus ultimate and get clogged and killed where they stand.
And our Pilot now with Draw a Bead at level 17 rank.
Oh yeah.
As well as the Rapid Fire Cannon. Good God, he can do a lot of damage from a long distance. We'll have that one armed and ready, but now 10 seconds to go. Tusen's going to make his way back through. We've got all ultimates available for both teams. This is exactly how MVP want it. They want to fight the enemy team and the Baron at the same time, whether they take it or not. And just to soften them up before this, we're going to throw a Requiem in there, and the Baron is going to be started. So, all right. You're going to have to now take us down without 300 points of your health bar. As Afreeca still want to give it a shot, as there's a big 3-man knockup coming from Tusen. Are we going to get it from Ian, who just jumps into the backline, aiming, struggling to get the work done, but Pilot isn't. Good God, it's a double kill already. Can he get the rocket jump resets? The answer is most likely yes, as Kuro goes golden, but only for a moment as he gets stunned, taken down. Yondu is going to grab the 3rd kill in the fight, and MVP, they don't give a crap about 2 extra people on the map. They want to take down the Baron.
When Tusen goes that far, there's no way for aiming to follow up on it, so it should easily be Baron to the side of the Afreeca Freecs. Tusen to MVP, sorry. Tusen helping out, doing his assistance. They're going to push through mid lane. They're going to get an inner turret here, most likely are the Afreeca Freecs, but the Baron, trivial pickup for MVP.
Exactly. And so that is going to be 2 turrets in the mid lane. Afreeca grabbed the outer and the inner, so that is good news. But this was really cute from Ian. Just soften them up before MVP start off this Baron, and then Afreeca Freecs have taken more damage than the team that started Baron.
And even though the comps and the summoners are weird, it really does at this point become which marksman is doing more. Aiming is exhausted. Ian runs at him. He awkwardly runs out of mana because, of course, low mana build. From the Karthus, so it doesn't have quite the same threat. But from there, Kuro is exposed. They don't have any other way to get to Pilot in the backline, so it will eventually be that Baron for MVP. A bit of gold picked up by Afreeca. They do take down the inner turret in the mid lane. Tusen's still alive. That's weird. He's now dead.
And Tusen had a Baron buff as well, which is an odd one. Didn't know that Ghosts could get a Baron, but apparently they can. Ghost can do some weird and wonderful things.
Well, Pilot can't do much more shopping because he is at 6 items.
Yeah.
He is tremendously far ahead, and maybe it was just all misdirection as another zoning Requiem.
Yeah, it's going to do a fair bit of damage there as well, as they're just buying space for Pilot, who ignores the Vision of Empire for the majority, and they can't kill the minions in time. MVP will break open the Afreeca base, and it's an odd composition, but by Jove, it's working, Papa Smithy.
It's odd summoners and certainly odd lane assignment, which is what caught us off guard, but the champions together do have synergy. They have allowed Pilot to get all the way to level 18 Tristana, something no one else has been bold enough to do this season. I don't even know what summoner I don't even know what summoner Ian has. What summon is that?
What the heck?
Is that Clarity? It is.
Clarity still exists?
They added it to Unsealed Spellbook for a bit of fun.
Ah, that was it.
You know, haven't seen that in my games.
And he also just used it for no reason, decided, well, that summoner spell was
Well,
stupid.
I mean, of course, Unsealed Spellbook has the mechanic of switching through, so just trying to get his primary summoner on a shorter cooldown, but there was a Clarity in a pro gaming career. It happened.
That did just happen.
Timestamp was about 34, 35, I believe.
There we go. Well, Ian, I believe, just started the teleport, but he's heading topside.
He is. They're just trying to rush this one.
Well, Dragon's going to go over to Afreeca, but do MVP care? Looks like the answer is no. And it looks like the most important Drake for a Mordekaiser comp seems to be the first, because they haven't got any after that.
You know, they've had bigger fish to fry. 30% extra damage to the monsters and the minions. I don't know if it matters. Afreeca dealing with a bit of a zoo here. How will MVP react? Can Afreeca do anything about this Tristana?
Well, the Unbreakable's right in front of him as it's going to be eaten. The Chains of Corruption by Motive. He is going to go down, but has enough been done here as Tucson melting down to the Children of the Grave coming in from Max. Goodbye. And see you later, Cow. That is going to mean 5 versus 4 is available as Tucson. He's defected. He's on the other side. He thinks this comp's really cool, and he wants to join MVP. Does get taken down by his teammates for it. And MVP now pushing super creeps into the base. 20 seconds left on this Baron buff, but they have a super minion empowered and moving towards the base. They want to take down the last remaining inhibitor turret, but don't quite have a creep wave.
Got a tutorial on it, they're walking up. Keen is now transformed, won't have that Mega now for much longer.
And Pilot has draw a beat at max stacks as well, so he's able to get auto attacks off from obscene amounts of range. They'll get rid of all the inhibitors, and MVP, I think they may have done it, Papa Smithy. I think this composition with the triple smite, double support is going to work.
It's a mouthful, but it seems to be an effective mouthful for the side of MVP. Afreeca are running very low on ideas here. Just like us, they didn't know what to make of it till they saw it in action. But because they got through the laning phase unscathed, the Karthus died once, but certainly wasn't super punished with the teleport smite, and then could easily just move over to the flash because of the Unsealed Spellbook. They were able to get the very gold-efficient first item, Runic Echo, and other pickups here across the map for MVP, and Tristana hit 6 items. That's all you need to know. Tristana getting those items means she is going to be hyper-relevant in the late game, and she outranges almost any threat on the side of Afreeca Freecs.
And this time, they were able to actually get a Baron power play that's worthwhile, and they've opened up this base to an extraordinary extent. Afreeca are going to be pretty happy with the fact that they've got 3 Mountain Drakes trying to fend off all of these waves of super creeps. And yes, they do have some wave clear. Keen, Kuro, and Aiming do a fair bit of damage to these creeps, as you can see demonstrated on your screen right now. But they won't have any ability to move towards the next Baron that our MVP should be able to gather for themselves. Remember, this game isn't over just yet, but breaking 3 inhibitors, it takes a lot of pretty impeccable play to get back from that, and it will most likely take a throw from MVP.
It just seems so hard to do anything to the Tristana. Even zoning the Tristana seems impossible. Karthus Tristana, so much hyperscaling that has been achieved. They're both level 18. They're both basically item capped. Keen walks up. I believe he has the Hurricane to try to help. No, sorry, the Hurricane was just on the Varus.
Yeah, Aiming has one of those, but Wall of Pain comes in. That buys space for MVP, and they just want to usher these minions towards the Nexus turrets. They haven't taken any damage just yet, which is good news for Afreeca. Requiem does about 1 trillion damage, I believe, is what our observer is saying, and as he says it, we are going to throw it in immediately on top of Afreeca Freecs. That's a third of Aiming's health bar just right down right now as the fight is going to start once again. Motive right in the front line as it's a good shield. Flash immediately from Pilot gets him out of the way of the explosive cask, and Kuro gonna get taken down. Sorry, Keen gonna get taken down to the GA. Kuro as well, very, very low on the back line. He's exhausted now as well as he moves up forward. Pilot gonna jump right in there. The Nexus is gonna explode, and the Frankenstein